Good evening, Ashwin.
Hi, good evening, ma'am.
So, Ashwin, first of all, congratulations on your GMAT score.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
What was your score and what are the sectional breakups?
So, ma'am, I scored 730 on GMAT and I scored a 50 on quant and 39 on verbal with an integrated reasoning of 7 on 8. I've still, my AWA score is still remaining to come. So, is yet to come. So, I'm not sure on that. But so, this is basically what my score is.
Great score. So, is this your first GMAT attempt?
I have taken GMAT prior to this in back in 2017 uh, when I did not take any coaching. But this time I thought that it'll be better if I could just go for formal coaching, and that would probably help me boost up my score. And it did. I scored a 680 last time. This time I ended up with a 730.
So, like a 50-point jump is a huge jump, actually.
Yes, that's true.
So, when did you take your GMAT?
I took my GMAT on in the first week of May, and May 2022.
So, are you happy with your score?
Yes, I'm pretty happy with my score as of now, and I'm really looking forward to the further process.
Right. So, what do you do? Are you a student or are you a working professional?
I'm a working professional. I am currently working in the consulting domain, and working professional, as you would know, entails. I mean, as a working professional, I'm required to work for more than 12 hours a day, and then I have very little time on my hand left to prepare for the GMAT. So that was sort of a challenge that I encountered. But nevertheless, all's well that ends well. So it ended well for me.
Well, I was going to ask you that question. I mean, being a working professional, how did you manage your time? Did you take some time off to prepare for the GMAT, or you did it simultaneously with your job?
No, I did it simultaneously. I did not take any time off for this. I believe that I think depending on, I mean, person to person, it varies. But I was able to devote about 1.5 hour of devoted, committed study every day. And I realized over time that my verbal is actually very weak. So when I started off, I was at a 29 or a 30 in verbal, and I ended up with a 39. So what really helped me was a focused, committed study every day. And on the weekends, I was able to spend about 5 to 6 hours if, on each day, Saturday and Sunday. So that worked out for me.
So from a 20 to 39 is a 19-point jump is a
29,
massive
29, 29 to 30.
10-point jump. That is also
Yeah.
pretty good. So, I'm also a working professional, so I know how drained probably you get at the end of the day. So, how did you keep yourself motivated to like, okay, I have to study for 1.5 hours? Anything special that you did for self-discipline?
So it's very funny, but so what as I mean the kind of age group I am in, we generally tend to surf a lot of YouTube videos, and I used to watch a lot of videos where there were admission processes that used to happen. There were some college tours that people used to put on YouTube, and all of those things. Like after, like let's say if I'm watching a YouTube video, I would obviously get motivated to study and go to that dream university of my choice, which is how I kept myself motivated. I used to watch a lot of YouTube content, and that is something that really helped me and motivated me in my journey.
And when did you start preparing for your GMAT with Jamboree?
I started at the start of Jan 2022. I started and took my exam in May first week.
So, like less than 5 months, 4.5 months.
Yes, that's true.
You did the classes twice a week or 4 times a week?
I went for the weekday batch 4 times a week.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
So, what time were your classes?
The classes used to happen 9 to 12 at night. And I think that was really good because every day you are in touch. And usually what happens with working professional, at least with some of my friends, how it happened was that people are not able to uh, given time to studies every day, but because you're having classes every day, you will need to obviously complete your homework from the previous class, the classwork that needs to be discussed, and that is something that kept you in the grind every day.
So you studied, online with us. So your teachers were teaching you online. So looking back, do you think you would have performed better if you had come to a physical classroom and learned, or the online learning was okay with you?
I think both of them, both the physical on the online medium and the offline medium, have their own advantages. But I think the online thing worked for me. Might not work for some other people. For some people, the offline mode would work the best. But for me, online thing worked.
So, anything specific that you want to tell students who are kind of under this debate? Okay, should I study online, or should I go to a physical classroom? So, what are the points that help you decide to learn online versus offline?
See, one of the advantages of offline mode of study is that when you see people studying with you, you are obviously motivated and you keep at it. What happens, the disadvantage of online is that, first of all, since you're studying in the 9 to 12 p.m. batch, and since you've had a heavy day at work, a lot of times you might feel like dozing off. And but I mean, realistically speaking, that's what would happen. But in an offline mode, that wouldn't happen. So that is one of the things that that would have me favor the offline mode over online mode. But nevertheless, online definitely has its own advantages if you are motivated enough to finish the classwork that was given in the previous class, and if you keep at it, the motivation needs to come from within, is what I would say. And if you have that, you can definitely go for online. It's obviously time saving, because for offline you would need to travel and then come back again, so that would consume a lot of your time. And the another advantage of online is that sometimes you might have a very heavy day at work. For professionals like me, sometimes I was not able to attend the classes, but the classes are recorded. So that's one of the advantages. You can go over the classes during the weekend or whenever you get time.
Right, right. No, that's very true actually, because you can even if you're not able to take detailed notes during the class in online, you can actually listen to the recording and then take notes. So I think it's sometimes if you are sitting in a class and you have to listen to the teacher and take notes. So doing
Right.
both effectively, sometimes is a challenge. But if you have the recordings to go back to, it does make your learning more comprehensive, I feel.
Yes, that's true.
So, when you decided, that you wanted to take some professional help for your second GMAT attempt, what made you choose Jamboree?
Um, so I've had a couple of my friends and a lot of online reviews that actually helped. Jamboree seemed to be one of the popular options that people are going for. And some of my references in my friend circle have also recommended me for Jamboree. So that's why I went for it. And it really worked.
Right, right, right. So, you are academically, what is your background?
Academically, I have um, already, I have a master's degree in finance, and I have a bachelor's in management. I am actually motivated to go for an MBA in the future abroad. So that actually is where I'm coming from. I have 2 plus years of consulting work experience at the moment.
So you are, I'm assuming, very good with numbers. So, so,
Yeah.
so maths probably you were pretty comfortable with. But even then, when you attended the classes, so did you come across any methodology or anything that made you go, "Oh, I didn't think of that," kind of in the situation?
Oh, definitely, definitely. I think there were multiple instances where I realized that I can think a little different, and there can be an easier approach to a particular question where you don't have to solve everything arithmetically on the board, but you can actually visualize the problem in a different way. In a way, you can actually end up getting the answer much sooner, much quicker.
And how about verbal? You mentioned that you were a little nervous about verbal. So something, like if you have to pick the top one or two things that you learned, during your classes in Jamboree, so what would those be?
So the one thing I actually learned about verbal is that sometimes as aspirants we tend to ignore certain points. I mean, it's very finer. It's a very fine nuance to these questions, but you have to read each and every word on the question stem. And people need to realize that every word chosen by the GMAT in the whole entire stem actually makes a difference. So if you read between the lines and read each and every word of it properly, you will understand that at least out of five, at least three options will definitely get eliminated at the first go, however difficult the question is. And then the remaining, the last two options, you will have to analyze both those options properly and then find out the finer nuance between them, and then weigh your, for example, if it's a critical reasoning question, you'll need to weigh those two options, which one has, I mean, which one seems more right to you. And according to that, you might need to go with your gut instinct at times if the question is really difficult, but sometimes the question is a sitter. So that's one thing. Secondly, I think it's very important for you to go for a timed test. And Jamboree provides you with ample opportunities uh, for taking timed tests. So you will have the official GMAT mocks that you can go for, but you also have those sectional 20-minute tests, which actually helped me, because a lot of times we tend to over invest time in a particular question, and these small tests will actually help you understand where you should not put your time much, and which questions you should just breeze, just swiftly pass by.
So after your classes got over, how much time did you spend on your post class mock tests, etc.?
So my classes got over in the mid of Feb, and after that it's just been mocks and practice, mostly verbal for me, because quant I was already a little comfortable with. But I eventually ended up taking almost all the sectional tests that were given, almost all the mocks that were given by Jamboree. I have also taken the GMAT official mock a couple of times. Ended up discovering that there are certain areas where I needed more improvement, certain areas where I'm strong with, in which I'm strong with in verbal. And so yeah, that's that.
So when you were going through this post class phase, so being on your own, might be a little intimidating. So did you have any support system to ask for doubts, or your faculty? How did you go about that? All the doubts that you may have, during in the practice content.
Yes, we have doubt sessions every weekend. There's a particular time you can actually book. You can actually come to the Zoom call. There's a Zoom call that happens, and all of the doubts are discussed there. You can come there. You can interact with the professors. The professors are extremely helpful, and they provide a deep insight into how you should approach a particular question. So I had that support system from Jamboree.
How many of the 12 full-length mock tests did you take on our platform?
I think I ended up taking almost most of them, at least about 8 or 9 of them.
What were you scoring on those mock tests?
So I was scoring about 700-ish consistently, at least on all of them. Sometimes there was a bad day, I ended up scoring a 670. Sometimes a good day, 750. So it was sort of fluctuating between these scores.
So your actual score actually was plus minus 20 points of probably what you were getting, right?
That is correct, yeah.
In addition to the Jamboree material and probably the official material, did you use anything else?
At times I used to surf by the internet. You have a couple of forums that post a lot of questions. I used to go through them, but I mean, I think the material that is provided by Jamboree was more than enough. The official material that's been provided was actually more than enough. You won't essentially get a lot of time to finish all of these things also, but at times I just used to test my skill just by surfing questions online. And if I would find something extremely important as a concept, I would note that down in a notebook. So essentially what I had done was I had maintained an error log that actually helped me trace which kind of difficulty level questions I'm actually getting wrong. So after a point, I realized that initially when I began, I used to get a lot of 650, 700 level questions wrong. But towards the end of it, I only ended up getting the very hard questions wrong. And the medium and the easy ones were probably more or less correct for me. So that's the one thing I observed with my journey.
Did you take the GMAT exam in the center or online?
I took it online because I had some issues on my end. So I had to take it online.
Okay. So on exam day, the kind of questions that you got. So how would you rate their level of difficulty? In term as compared to the ones that you solved with Jamboree.
I think they were pretty much at par. The difficult questions in Jamboree, yeah, I would overall, my assessment is that they're all pretty much the same in terms of difficulty. If you're talking about the medium level question on the actual GMAT and a medium level question on the Jamboree platform, I think they're both comparable.
So actually, you are in a very unique position. You have taken the GMAT exam once in a center, right, in 2017, and
That's
now
correct.
online. How would you compare your these two experiences?
So I think on the center somehow, when I'm writing GMAT online, I think I'm in my comfort zone because I have taken so many mocks at that same very desk. So I'm very comfortable. I know the surroundings. But when you go to the real test center, there are not just you, there are so many other applicants also with you. Plus, it's just pin drop silence there. So I think that silence also sort of distracted me in a way, and also sort of led to internal panic at times. So I think that way GMAT online was pretty good for me because I was in my comfort zone.
Yeah, you were taking the exam on the same laptop that you were used to take your mock test. So familiarity of equipment and everything was there, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So anything on exam day, anything that like you would have changed, or you are happy the way you tackled the exam?
Anything in terms of, could you elaborate?
So how you approach the exam? Sometimes students they take and then say, "Oh, I wish I hadn't spent so much time in the
Yeah.
initial part." So they have these kind of things. So for you, did you go through your GMAT exam the way you would have done, or is there anything that you would like to change?
Yeah. So I think this was one of the major challenges that even I had. That in my head, I thought that, maybe when I start off with the exam, I'll probably over invest in terms of time on easy questions also. Ideally you should not do that because the stakes are high on the exam day. You've spent so much money to write the exam, and it's normal, it's natural for you to feel that way, that every question is equally important. But what happens is that when you end up spending, let's say, even 30 seconds more per question, also maybe 1 minute more per question, it ends up very badly towards the end, because then you're just panicking, and all the questions you're just probably just not even able to read all the questions. So this was one of my strategy, that if the question is actually very simple, I would just go with my gut feeling. If there is one straight simple answer, I would just mark it and I'd go ahead. I would not overspend on that question. Excuse me.
Right, right. Do you want to grab a glass of water or something?
Yeah, I'll just do that.
Yeah, do that, do that.
Yes.
So do you have any tips for other students here who are preparing for the GMAT? Top two, three
Just give me a
tips.
moment. If you could
Yeah,
just
sure.
give me a moment.
Yeah, sure.
Hello?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
yes. So yeah, your top two, three tips for other students who are preparing for the GMAT.
Tips. I think definitely one is keep at it. Every day, studying every day, for even for, let's say, half an hour, 1 hour, whatever you can do, whatever you can manage, is very important. It's very important to stay in touch with what you're doing. Don't if you're not able to do anything on the weekdays, and let's say on the weekends every day you're spending 10 hours of preparation time, I think that wouldn't help as much as it would that you're doing every day, even one hour each or half an hour each, just to stay in touch, at least with verbal. With quant, I think it's very important to be very proficient with all the formulae. at least, and try to understand what kind of questions usually are asked on the GMAT. Then one of the other tips also is that you need to convince your mind on the exam day, especially, that if you are at least 90% sure of an answer, attempt it, move ahead, don't spend additional time on those questions. Sometimes at times it might happen that in a quant question you're not able to get the answer, but usually how human nature is that um, just to satisfy ego, we spend we spend extra time, additional time on a question. Don't do that, because it over for the entire duration of 1 hour, whatever you get 31 questions in quant, I think it's very important to spend a justified amount of time for every question that you attempt. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, be focused, be committed to whatever you're doing, and I mean, hope for the best at the end.
So any feedback about your journey and experience with Jamboree?
Ma'am, I actually have, on a very honest note, I have a lot of positive feedback for my professors, my teachers. Actually, they gave me a lot of support and guidance throughout the journey. I used to connect with my teachers, even on a normal day. Just I used to my English professor used to send her questions, and she used to get back with an answer, with an explanation of why this particular option is preferred over another option. So just give me a moment, ma'am. I think there's someone on the door. I'm sorry.
Sure. Yeah. No problem.
Hello. Yes, ma'am. Sorry for the interference. There's someone on the door.
No, definitely. No, it's just so kind of you that you're doing this for us. So definitely don't apologize. So do you want to start this answer again? So I'll ask the question again and then you can start.
Sure.
Right? So Ashwin, what would be your feedback about your journey with Jamboree?
Ma'am, I've had good professors who've given me good guidance on. I used to connect with my verbal and my quant professors throughout my journey. Even during the weekdays when even during the days when I don't have a class, they've been very helpful and very supportive in my journey. I used to send my questions to them, and they just used to come back with a reply on an explanation on why a particular option is better than the other option. So it's been a journey. It's been an amazing journey for me. I think this is one of those journeys which I would remember over a time in my life, because one GMAT, studying for GMAT has itself improved my language in general, and secondly, I've become. Internally I feel that I've become very good with my analysis and numbers, mathematical skills. So all thanks to my professors who've been extremely supportive and helpful.
So who were your teachers?
For verbal, my teacher was Harmeen ma'am, and Sachin sir for quant. So they've
I
been
will
extremely
definitely
helpful.
convey your message to them. They will be happy to hear you speak about them.
Definitely.
So any parting words for students who are thinking of going abroad or preparing for GMAT? Any parting words?
Just stay committed to what you're doing, everyone, and never lose sight of your dream. If you've dreamt of going abroad, studying in a good college, go for it, and just give your best shot, and I think you will be successful.
Very well said. So congratulations once more, and thank you for doing this with us.
Thank you so much, ma'am.